My name is Tabitha Snow, and today I will be representing my client who was a victim of a horrible traffic injury. Before the injury, my client was a happy, healthy, active teenager who enjoyed doing normal, everyday teenager things. She was a member of the basketball team and the drama club. She enjoyed snowboarding and attending many social events such as school dances and other get-togethers that she had with her friends and family or school-related activities. This happy, healthy lifestyle was all taken away from her in the blink of an eye, thanks to the defendant who neglectfully hit my client with his car. Leading up to the incident, my client and her sister were jogging in the bike lane going the opposite direction of traffic. So they were jogging towards the flow of traffic. The defendant distractedly ran into the bike lane, hitting my client with his car. She immediately fell to the ground in excruciating pain. She was screaming, obviously in pain, and her sister knew that something was wrong. Today, we will be seeking financial compensation for my client's medical expenses, the opportunities that my client has missed and will continue to miss in the future due to this incident, and for the damages that will continue to carry with my client through the rest of her life and definitely through the next few years of the remainder of her high school career, as well as into her adult life, etc. The total medical expenses is $21,738.68. We will be seeking that number as well as additional compensation, like I said, for the injuries for the impact that this will leave on my client. The defendant is fully responsible for this incident, as my client was not in the wrong in any way whatsoever. While my client and her sister were jogging, they were very visible. Behind me, you will see a photo of the hoodie that my client was wearing when she was struck by the defendant. As you can tell, it's a cream beige color, very visible, very hard to miss, very easy to see. The defendant was just not paying attention and was being negligent. My client and her sister were also jogging in the designated bike lane. Also behind me, you will see a photo of the bike lane that she was running in. Very designated, the white lines were clearly painted, and not once did my client or her sister step out of this bike lane. The defendant was not paying attention and is fully responsible. That is the only explanation that serves as to why he struck my client in the first place. He was being very negligent. He became distracted, swerved into the black bike lane, striking my client. He was negligent in more ways than one, as he failed to yield to the bike lane and was distracted while he was driving. He owes it to my client to pay for current damages and the damages that will follow her through the rest of her life. Not only has this affected her in the moment, but this incident will follow with her for many, many events leading into her life. She will not be able to participate in any of the activities that she's loved doing and has found comfort in doing in the upcoming year or into her adulthood. She will not be able to play basketball anymore or snowboard or do any of the activities that she has previously been known to love and find joy and comfort in. Being able to attend social events and staying active and doing the things that you love is crucial for a teenager's development and for their self-esteem, their mental health, and ultimately just how they think of themselves. And not being able to do these things is very detrimental to their self-esteem, their mental health. My client will be distraught over this incident for many, many years to come. Laying these foundations of a good social life and self-esteem by doing the things you love with the people that you enjoy being around is crucial to setting your basis into adulthood. This is what your entire stability of yourself is based upon. Not only did this incident affect my client, but her family as well. Her sister was there in the bike lane when she was struck, and she had to watch her client she had to watch her sister be in excruciating pain, all because of the defendant's negligence. Her sister was there firsthand with her when the incident took place. She had to watch it happen and then had to wait there with her as she's screaming for the EMS, and her parents had to watch her get onto the ambulance and stay in the hospital and undergo these surgeries that were just not necessary if it weren't for the defendant's negligence to my client. Can you imagine going through something like this, or imagine watching your loved ones going something through this? This is not an easy thing to watch your happy, healthy teenage sister or daughter go through. No one wants that for their child or their relative of any sort. The incident took place on October 3rd, and my client was not released from the hospital until October 5th. From her ambulance ride to her release from the hospital, she was in excruciating pain. Her pain level when the EMS arrived on scene was a 10 out of 10 on the pain scale. That just puts it into perspective how much pain my client was in. And this was all because the defendant drove into the bike lane neglectfully, striking my client. This was not because she ran out in the road or accidentally stepped out of the bike lane. None of that took place. She was very clearly in her designated lane, very clearly in a beige hoodie that's easy to see. This was not a result of her actions, but instead the defendant's actions due to his negligence. When the EMS arrived on scene, they took her to the hospital, and she got x-rays taken. And when the x-rays, the results of the x-rays were that she had many fractures in her leg, and she would have to undergo immediate surgery. This surgery came with many risks in and of itself, like infection and possible nerve damage. The procedure itself included many incisions and rods being placed in her leg. Not something that anybody wants to go through, especially not on their own account when there was nothing that they could do to prevent this. This was just a horrible procedure, and 3 days that my client had to stay in the hospital, and her family had to watch her be in pain and surgery. Not only did the defendant take away my client's ability to walk Not only did the defendant take away my client's ability to do the things she loves, but he also took away her ability to just merely walk, all because he was distracted and neglectful when he struck my client with his car. He took away her confidence, her self-esteem, missing out on opportunities that you want to be at is not anything that a teenager should have to go through. Missing out on these things is very harmful to a teenager's self-esteem. We've all been there. We've all been high schoolers just trying to fit in and do the things we love and stay happy and healthy and active. And this is not something that could continue to be done by my client because of this incident and the negligence of the defendant. As for the physical healing of this incident, she will have to undergo many, many sessions of physical therapy just to be able to walk again. Who's to say she will never be able to do these things that she's loved? She may not ever pick up a snowboard again, and that's not her fault. It's not her fault at all. It is 100% the defendant's. The defendant has offered my client's life for the long run. This will not only take a while to heal physically, but mentally as well. As I've mentioned before, this will alter my client's self-esteem, her confidence, how she feels about herself, and these are not easy things to rebuild once they're broken down. I mean, this is mental health, for crying out loud. Like, this is not something that you can just slap a Band-Aid on. The defendant deserves to pay for the direct and indirect damages he has caused due to his negligence. As mentioned before, he altered my client's life for the long run, as well as the emotional damages that he has caused to both my client and her family. He deserves to pay for this incident and make sure that my client is set after this incident. This is no, the client and her family should not be responsible for paying for medical bills that they wouldn't have needed in the first place if it wasn't for the defendant. Again, we are seeking $21,738.68 plus emotional damages or compensation for the emotional damages of both her and her family. From a happy, healthy teenage girl to having to deal with a severe injury so quickly is unbearable. It is not fair for the defendant to walk away from my client in this situation and not serving justice to my client. So, I leave you all today with these points, and I beg that you will rule in favor of my client and help her and her family get the justice that she deserves and find the defendant guilty of this incident and rule that this compensation is deserved. Thank you.